Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
We're going to have some fun in the summer learning English. It might be the last thing you want to do when you're heading to the beach with your friends or climbing in the mountains or whatever, or trying to find a place that has air conditioning that you can hang out at and stay there all day and read and play on your phone and stuff like that. But, well, we're going to talk about some idioms that you can use in the summer. An idiom, of course, is a group of words together, and it's a pretty catchy phrase, and it can be used in conversations to make those conversations more interesting, or of course they can also be used in writing to sort of spice things up.
Yeah, I think a lot of times idioms can say a lot in just a few words. We don't have Chinese idioms with the 4 words. Those are kind of cool, the Chengyu. Ours are longer typically, but they also have a story behind them usually. And you can express a lot with just one idiom. You don't have to talk about the whole situation. If you say it, everybody knows what you're talking about. So these are some very famous ones from summer. And I have to say, I know every single one. I've used them all, and we're going to be talking about why they're particularly good for Taiwan's hot summer season. Oh, we're going to go ahead and read through day 1, and then we'll be back.
It's summer in Taiwan. Temperatures are soaring, and the humidity makes it feel even hotter. Plants wither in the heat, and people feel as though they might do the same. So why not flee the merciless sunshine, feast on ice cream, and learn a few handy summer idioms? The dog days of summer. This phrase, which means the hottest days of the summer, evokes the image of dogs lying around on hot days, tongues out and panting in the brutal heat. It actually dates back to ancient Greek and Roman times, and refers to the days in late July when the star Sirius appears to rise at the same time as the sun. Sirius is the brightest star of the Canis Major, Big Dog constellation, and it was believed its heat, merged with that of the sun, created the hottest days of the year. Example: it's no coincidence that during the dog days of summer, most people are content to stay inside and enjoy the cool relief of the air conditioning. Summer fling. A fling is any brief casual romantic relationship. Both parties generally start a fling with the acceptance that they're not forming a serious or permanent attachment, and ideally no one has hurt feelings after it ends. Summer is a good time for meeting new people and having flings, as the weather is delightful and people are often taking vacations from work or school. Example: Michelle enjoyed a summer fling with a guy named George when she returned to her hometown after her freshman year at college. However, they didn't continue their romance once the new semester started.
Okay, guys, let's dive in. I must confess, I am not a big fan of the summers here. Actually, I don't like the summer anywhere. Even in a place that has 4 seasons, and you have a really cold winter. Typically, summers are hot and humid. I grew up in the desert, so we don't have any humidity. It's very dry. But boy, it's hot. And just getting into a car during the summer, you can burn your hand trying to turn the key in the ignition. So I'm not a big fan of summers, but I've learned to deal with them here. I don't spend much time outside in the summer in Taiwan, and I have a very good air conditioner that I keep on a lot. I'm always afraid we're going to lose electricity, 停电, and I suddenly have to be in my apartment in that heat. Yeah, it's kind of hot here in Taiwan.
I actually like the summer in Taiwan.
I know.
Summer is my favorite season, and I'm not afraid of the heat. Although I don't like the cold winter because it's humid and I feel cold all the time.
I love the cold.
But that, of course, is a subject for another day. We're talking about idioms that you can use on a hot summer's day. So again, in summer in Taiwan, temperatures are soaring. They're flying really high. They are really high. They are in the stratosphere. It's so hot. And also, we've got this humidity problem here because it's a subtropical country here. A subtropical territory, I should say, and the humidity makes it feel even hotter. So you've got this combination of heat and humidity, and that just makes things uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. Look at the feels like temperature when you look at the temperature for that day. They combine the real temperature with the humidity. Oh, my goodness. It's bad. I wanted to mention on our title, it says hot idioms for a hot summer's day. You can also just say hot summer day and turn summer into an adjective or a 形容词. So they're both correct, just so you know. We see that a lot. Now, Tom, go ahead and talk about your favorite season.
Summer, right. Well, temperatures are soaring. Of course, it can get too hot, I do like hot weather, and I like to sweat a lot, and I like to scare people away because I'm sweating so much, and I smell.
And sometimes you don't smell very good, I know.
It does happen sometimes, but hey, what can I say? I like to sweat. And, of course, the humidity combined with the high temperatures make it even hotter. And here's what could happen in the hot summer. Plants wither in the heat, and people feel as though they might do the same. So if something withers, it kind of dries and sort of shrinks in size. So plants will wither in the heat if they don't have enough water. If it doesn't rain, then the plants will dry. They'll wither like an old prune or something like that. And people will feel as though they might do the same. It's so hot out here, I feel like I'm going to wither and turn into a dry leaf or something like that. Of course, most people try to find places that have air conditioning and hang out there all day or go swimming or whatever. So yeah, they feel like they might wither in the heat, and they might do that. They might wither in the heat, indeed, if they spend most of their time outdoors.
Yeah, that would be me. Withering in the heat. If you don't water your plants enough outside during the summer, you notice that they quickly become very dry and brittle, and the leaves just kind of wither away. So I tend to water my plants every morning before the sun comes up so that water gets into the soil really well. These are for my plants outside on the balcony. My plants inside my house are very happy because they get air conditioning so much of the time. So why not flee? Flee just means to run away quickly. Usually you flee because someone's chasing you or there's danger. So why not flee the merciless sunshine? Oh, yeah. We have lots of sun in Taiwan. Actually, Taiwan in the summer reminds me of Arizona, where I grew up. Our sun is very hot there, too. So if you don't have an umbrella, sometimes it's just miserable.
But it's kind of dry there, isn't it? It's not so humid.
Yeah, but the sun is just as hot. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I prefer a dry heat to summer's humidity, or Taiwan's humidity. It's so humid here, it's hard to breathe sometimes for people. So merciless, let's take a look at this vocabulary word. It's kind of hard to say, merciless. Mercy, this just means no mercy or without mercy. If you have mercy for someone, you show some kindness toward them. But if you're merciless, you're mean and you are unkind and you don't have any pity for people. You're cruel. So it's kind of cruel sunshine. Once the sun goes behind the cloud, it just feels cooler, right? So in the winter, we love for the sun to come out. But in the summer, I like those cloudy days. But we get a lot of sunshine in the summer here, that's for sure.
I'm sure a lot of people like it when it rains during the summer because it cools off. But most of the time we have that merciless sunshine. So if that happens, you might want to feast on ice cream or maybe shaved ice. If you feast on something, that means you just enjoy eating something and you eat a lot of that thing. Ice cream, indeed, might be tasty during the summer, as shaved ice would be tasty as well with different kinds of ingredients. But while you're doing that, while you're feasting on ice cream or shaved ice, you might want to learn a few handy summer idioms. So let's get to it here. The first one is the dog days of summer. Interesting. What do the days of summer have to do with dogs? Well, this phrase, which means the hottest days of the summer, evokes the image of dogs lying around on hot days, tongues out and panting in the brutal heat. So indeed, if you think of summer, you can think of dogs suffering in the heat because they have to release their heat with their tongues.
Right.
So they're panting. So if you have that image in your mind, then you might think, oh, it must be really hot if the dogs are panting like that.
Yeah, so if you're panting, you're gasping for air. You're trying to breathe in more air because usually you've been exercising and you just can't get enough air in very fast. But those dogs, when it's hot, you don't see them running around. You see them just kind of taking it easy, and that tongue is out and they're trying to cool themselves off. You know, they still have all that hair on their skin, right? So, yeah, it's kind of tough on the dogs. We try to keep our dog, when we had a dog, we would keep him trimmed really short in the summer, and we gave him a little swimming pool in the backyard, and that's where he would spend most of his day.
Some dogs like to do that, indeed.
Oh, he's a water dog. So this is where it comes from, but we've also got a really origin, you could say, for this particular phrase. This phrase actually dates back to ancient Greek and Roman times. It refers to the days in late July. There were like 20 days when the star Sirius appears to rise at the same time as the sun. Now, I have heard of Sirius just because Sirius was the name of a new satellite radio network in the U.S. You had to pay a special fee to hear the programs. And it was so different from regular radio stations that are free for most people, right? So that's how I know the word Sirius, but it actually has something to do with our sky and what's in our heavens. So we're going to talk more about this, guys, but let's take a break now, and then we'll come back and talk about this phrase or idiom, the dog days of summer.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。哎呀，现在天气真的很热，所以我们今天跟明天2天来看一些有关于夏日的片语。好，当然因为真的很热啦，有时候热的都感觉好像没有力气的，好像觉得自己好像快要枯萎了。这是我们在第一段当中第3句特别提到的文意。我们来看一下第3句哦，有一个很重要的东西叫 as though。As though 它是一个连接词，那这个连接词的意思是如同、好像、仿佛。那么在英文当中，我们都知道，假设要用这种如同、好像、仿佛的连接词，后面的动词就会使用所谓的假设语气。假设语气其实是英文当中它的动词变化多，那么所谓的假设语气就是动词并不是那个时间点所谈的状况。换句话说，大家也觉得好像自己跟植物一样快要枯萎了。As though 后面的 may do something 的 may 就不能用现在式哦。假设是与现在事实相反的陈述，动词的现在式就会用过去式。所以 as though 后面都会加假设语气的言下之意就是动词都要做变化，这个变化就是它不是事实。如果用现在式就用过去式，如果不是过去的事实就用过去完成。好，那么我们看一下，接下来第一个片语是酷暑日哦，这个片语叫做 The Dog Days of Summer。当然字面上就是夏天的狗日子，狗如果很热的时候或运动完的时候都会吐舌头啦，或者是躺着啊，或者是一直喘气。这就是我们片语当中第一句所陈述的意思。不过在第一句当中要特别注意哦，有一个非限定用法补充说明的关系子句，然后也有一个关系子句的简化。所以我们看一下第一句这个地方 The phrase 是先行词，逗点之后的 which 到后面的逗点这边可以左右括号，那么 which 当然指的就是这个片语。好，那么补充说明当然就是指的是最热的日子的片语，可是后面还有一个关系子句简化在 dogs 这里，先行词可以画起来 dogs。 后面的 lying 一直到句尾的 heat 可以把它左右括号起来。这里的 lying lying 还原是关系词 which 或 that 再加上动词 lie lie 这个动作。那 lie 这个字本身就是躺下躺着，它不需要被动，狗躺下躺着用主动就可以了。那么在这里是一个关系子句的简化。可是后面呢，我们看到同样片语的第二句，它也有一个限定用法的关系子句。先行词是 the days in late July， 后面 when 一直到句尾可以左右括号起来。那么当然在这里的 when 它是一个关系词，而且是关复哦。如果关系词是一个副词的话，那么关系词后面的句子是完整的，有主词，有受词，也有补语。所以后面我们可以检查看看，从动词的 appears 这个地方圈起来，发现前面有主词 the star Sirius， 后面 appears 之后看到的是受词 to rise at the same time as the sun，as 后面也出现了受词 the sun， 所以完整的句子如果说出现在关系子句里面，那么关系词就只用关复就好了。当然在这里指的就是时间，它指的就是呢，在古希腊罗马时代呢，7月下旬这个天狼星几乎跟太阳同时升起的日子。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, everybody, let's continue to talk about idioms for a hot summer's day. And we began talking about the dog days of summer. It will evoke the image of dogs lying around on hot days, panting because it's so hot. To evoke just means to make us think of these things. And actually, it has a different kind of origin. It goes back to Greek and Roman times and refers to the days in late July when the star Sirius appears to rise at the same time as the sun. Now, Sirius, of course, is the brightest star of the Canis Major Big Dog constellation. It's not only the brightest star in that constellation, but it's the brightest star of all the stars out there. So, of course, Sirius is a really bright star and is part of the Canis Major constellation. A constellation is a group of stars together. And if you want to find Sirius, well, it's pretty easy. Just look kind of to Orion's belt there, and just kind of go down to the left, and you'll see a really bright star there, the brightest star around. And that is Sirius. And then you'll know where Canis Major is as well. And it was believed then that its heat, merged with that of the sun, created the hottest days of the year. So indeed, during the summer, Sirius would rise along with the sun. So people thought, hey, the sun and Sirius are kind of working together to make our summers unbearable. Those two astrological objects are working together. They are merging together. They are working together. They are cooperating with each other to make these hot days of summer. So hopefully they'll go away soon and we'll go back to winter.
I love winter. I love winter here. I wanted to say we use merge a lot when we're talking about two businesses coming together and forming one business. So they'll merge. There's a merger happening. Or you could talk about merging with traffic if you're coming in, from you're wanting to go on the freeway and you have to come in from the left or the right. You're merging with traffic, and sometimes it's nice if you let cars merge in front of you as you're waiting in line. None of that's fun, but that's what merging with traffic means. So yeah, this is where this phrase comes from. It's very old, very ancient. Here's an example of how to use this particular idiom. It's no coincidence that during the dog days of summer, most people are content to stay inside and enjoy the cool relief of the air conditioning. That would be me. If something's a coincidence, it just means it happened without any planning. It was spontaneous. Oh, I just ran into him. What a coincidence. We were both shopping today. I haven't seen you forever. So, yeah, a coincidence, again, is something that is not planned. And during the dog days of summer, Most people, you can understand why. They would rather stay inside. There are a lot of people that like to go see movies so they can stay in the movie theater, which is usually quite cool. Or go to a store, especially if they have places for you to sit down. I notice a lot of older people spend their day in a store or a theater to take advantage of that air conditioning.
Indeed, and of course I read somewhere, and I believe this, that you shouldn't keep your body at the same temperature all year long. You should get used to cold weather in the winter and hot weather in the summer, but again, that's just a theory. I'm not sure how accurate that actually is.
Oh, but they've done studies, Tom, on people who like to spend time in the sauna when it's really cold outside and then step out into that freezing air. It actually gets your heart going. So I have seen studies like that, so it kind of makes sense, yeah.
I don't think my doctor would recommend I do that. But yeah, some spas have the hot pools, and then there's a cold one that you can jump
into.
With
ice, yeah, sometimes.
To kind of heat your body up and cool it down. But that's not really what we're talking about today, although it's related. We kind of went off on a tangent there. But in any case, the phrase in question is the dog days of summer. Here's an example. Again, we just mentioned this. There's no coincidence, or it's no coincidence that most people are content. They're happy to stay inside and enjoy the cool relief of aircon or AC or air conditioning. Now, here's another idiom that has to do with the summer. Summer fling. Okay, I haven't really done this myself, but I can relate to this. A fling is any brief, casual, romantic relationship. Okay, I'm not sure if people in Taiwan like to do this sort of thing. I've seen relationships here in Taiwan more kind of permanent, I don't think they like short-term relationships.
They're long-term, aren't they?
Pretty much, but a fling usually happens over a short period of time.
Usually when you go on vacation to some other place, right? And maybe you're there for a couple weeks or a month. That's when people usually have flings.
It's very possible if people are traveling, say, to Australia or something, and they got a summer job there picking grapes in a vineyard or something. They may meet somebody from Paraguay or from Namibia or wherever, and they might have kind of a summer fling, a little brief, casual, romantic relationship, and both parties, the boy and the girl, generally start a fling with the acceptance that they're not forming a serious or permanent attachment, and ideally, no one has hurt feelings after it ends. So both parties, both people know that, hey, this is just a summer job. We won't see each other after this. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to enjoy it for what it is. And we're not going to force the other person to make any promises. Oh, I want a relationship. I need a commitment from you. No, everybody knows it's just romance for the summer. And it's going to be over once the summer is over. They might still write emails to each other and stuff like that, but they pretty much all understand that it's temporary.
Yeah, if fling here is being used as a noun, sometimes you'll see us use it as a verb, which just means to throw something. Usually you fling a rock, fling a stone, fling an insult, which is not literal, it's figurative. So that is different. But fling as a noun, it typically just means this. There might be a few other ways to use it in different countries. I was taking a look and I thought, yeah, we don't use that in American English. But yeah, a fling is usually something that happens. It's very temporary, and usually both parties understand, or both people understand, this is only, just temporary. Hopefully somebody doesn't fall in love with the other person and get their heart broken. Sometimes that happens because maybe the girl or the guy doesn't understand it's a fling. So you should say that up front. Oh, this is just, a summer romance. So anyway, they have to both accept that they're not forming a serious relationship, that this isn't a long-term dating situation. No, we're just gonna enjoy ourselves together this summer. And hopefully no one has their heart broken after it ends. So summer's a good time for meeting new people, having flings because the weather's nice, or as we say here, the weather is delightful. And people often taking vacations from work or school look for something temporary. Of course, if you're going on vacation with your spouse, that's not a good time to have a fling, people. Fling shouldn't happen between married people or with married people. So we're talking about single people people only having flings.
And here's an example. Michelle enjoyed a summer fling with a guy named George when she returned to her hometown after her freshman year at college. Oh, this sounds similar to me. I had a summer job at a Pizza Hut in my hometown, and there was this girl working there. Her name was Susan, and I was picking up some vibes from her, and I think I was sending her vibes. But
hey, Tom, you're hot.
But for some reason, it just didn't happen. I don't know why. It could have easily happened. And
Are you shy, Tom?
Probably I was more shy then than I am now. But in any case, I kind of regret not going for it, as we often say. It could have been fun, and I think we both would have understood that it was temporary. We were just doing this as a summer job, and then in the fall, we'd go off to university wherever we were going. And so this is an example here. Michelle had a summer fling with George when they went back to their hometown. However, they didn't continue their romance once the new semester started. So they did not continue their romance. They did not continue their relationship at the time, or once the new semester started. Again, she went off to university at the University of Wisconsin, Madison, and he went off to Purdue or wherever, and they probably wrote postcards to each other, but the romance fizzled after that.
Hey, it's hard if you're trying to maintain a long-distance relationship. I've tried some of those. It's very hard. So sometimes what you think is a long-term relationship turns into something that doesn't work out in the end because of the distance between the two of you. So, yeah, but it's still fun if you can find someone to have a good summertime with. And you don't have to get serious, it could just be a good friendly relationship. Right now, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher talk about some of these words and phrases, and then we'll be back.
那天狼星是什么星呢？天狼星啊，大家其实认为它的热度跟太阳的热度几乎是融合的，所以那一年当中最热的时间点就在这里。不过在片语当中，第三句我们看到一个被动表示客观的讲法。第三句中间逗点之后，在 and 之后，我们看到的是 It was believed。这件事情被大家相信，而且是过去式哦。哪件事情呢？ It 后面是虚主词，真主词从 its heat 一直到句尾的地方，而在这里的 its heat 后面又带了一个补充说明非限定用法的关系子句，还简化呢。所以我们把 merged 前面还原成冠带 which 或者是 that， 还有一个 be 动词，当然也是过去式咯， was。好，可是要特别注意一下，在这个关系子句当中，中间有一个字叫做 that， 在这里的 that 是一个代名词，它代替的是 heat 这个单字，但是因为本身这个 that 有受到后面 of the sun 太阳的热这样子的一个限定关系，所以我们不能用代名词的 it， 只能用 that， 也就是说代名词的 that它可以指的是同种类的东西，在这一句话里面指的是太阳的热，而不是所谓天狼星的热。好，那么最后面呢，我们来看一下另外一个片语叫做 summer fling。所谓的 fling 就是那种短暂随意的浪漫的关系，因为通常都会在暑假大家有空的时候发生。那么这样的夏日恋曲，通常双方都是彼此认可，他们并没有要经营一个很认真或者是长久的感情，在这样子的一个共识，大家都可以接受的情况之下，才开始谈恋爱的。好，所以在这个片语当中，请注意第二句哦，有两个字，我们先画起来，叫做 the acceptance。可是后面的 that 它是一个等号的概念，它只是补充说明 the acceptance 双方接受的是什么东西，所以 that 之后当然会加一个完整子句，因为这个双方接受的事情就是他们并没有要认真经营一段长久感情的关系。好，我们明天还有更多的夏日片语，明天见了，我是 Anna， 拜拜。
That is all for today's lesson. Again, we learned the phrases, the dog days of summer, and summer fling, and we've got a couple more to learn in our next program. Please join us then. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
See ya.